Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Conversations with
Camille.
and Nicki.
Come on,
We
we
need
have
to
to
do this
laugh.
as like a late night. I mean, it's already late night as we record this, but this should be like a late night comedy show or something.
We're having fun. We're having fun, and we have to have fun.
So, usually, whenever we get on, we talk about relatable things that we go through, but also what we see in our healing practice with our clientele. And honestly, this is what everybody struggles with. So, Camille and I were just speaking. Camille, would you like to start off tonight's conversation?
Yeah, because we started talking about it. And I'm like, well, this should just be part of the conversations. This is why we started this, because we start talking about it. So I'm going to shut up and talk about this. So it's about the practice of gratitude, or just a practice in general. The tools, I think I talked about this last week, the tools that you're given by any healer, any facilitator, anyone that's there to help you. One of the things that I know I would struggle with, and actually I was kind of cleaning out some of the stuff that I don't need anymore. I'm like, oh, look, here's a journal I wrote. And I thought I had been doing gratitude for a really long time because Fun Facebook says, oh, look, you've done this. Like, I'm thankful for this. And it usually comes around Thanksgiving, right? And I'm like, no, I've done it many times before. But really, I wasn't. I was just journaling about how I hated being in the job I used to. I was like, oh, I thought I was always doing gratitude. Oh, damn, no wonder I was miserable. So, the reason why gratitude is writing gratitude and writing and understanding what is so great and abundant around you. It gets you to see what truly is in front of you instead of focusing what is not so great. Let's focus on things that are great. And what that does is, number one, it helps you get out of that mindset, right? That gets you out of that mindset of, oh, woe is me. Look at the shit that's going on in the world, and look at this and look at that. And like, that's one thing that I know mindset speakers and teachers, and they say, don't watch the news, turn off the TV, get all that negative talk out of your life. Even the people, if you can hear that there's always negative talk, oh, talking negatively about a person or even yourself, that's the one thing. Like, any kind of mindset coach, person, speaker, they tell you to get rid of it. Why? Because you're only focusing on what's not so great in your life.
And I'll chime in on this because, it's right now we're recording. It's 9:30 p.m. I have two kids. I'm exhausted. And I was like half asleep when you called me and you're like, "Are we still filming tonight?" And I was like, "Yeah, we can." But I was like, my son is sleeping next to me and I was just like dragging my feet and my energy was low. And here's the thing is you can shift your energy instantaneously. Like within 5 seconds, you can shift your energy. I spent like $1,500 on a manifestation coach to learn this technique right here is how to shift your emotion, because when you shift your emotion you shift your frequency, and this is where we get into the quantum of it all, where people say high vibration, high frequency. What does it mean? And what it really, really means is to shift your inner emotion, because emotion is frequency. So, what did I do? I got up, I brushed my hair, I washed my face, I thought about who it is that I want to show up. And I got excited about that. I was like sitting and I was like, I want to be excited about me. Like, I want to talk about me and my journey and how amazing my journey is, and not think about, oh my God, I am so tired. I just dragged around two kids all day long. Like, that's not what I want to think about because
Girl,
that's
no, you didn't drag
how
them. You happily
they
carried them.
they dragged me. They literally dragged me. They dragged me. It's okay, like
Let's change those words. You excitedly, enthusiastically carried your loved children along with you.
okay, Camille, thank you for your input.
I don't have kids, so I can easily say that. I'm gonna say that right now. I don't have kids, and I'm on the West Coast, and she's in the East Coast, so there's time difference.
But I gotta hand it to you because you, of course, work your job, and as soon as you get home, we hop on and we do this, right? And it's like, what is the story you want to create for yourself? Do you want to make up every excuse in the book and say, I have a full-time job or I'm a full-time mom and there's absolutely no way I can do this? And we find the time. And it's not because we're any more different than the person sitting in front of the screen watching. It's just we choose what we want to create. And so, what you said about gratitude is so important because that tiny little thing, and every coach I've worked with, that's a practice they always tell their students that helps them, and we do it ourselves too, is write down 5 things in the morning, at night, 5 things you're grateful for. And just those little shifts every morning you wake up, instead of thinking, oh, I'm so tired, you think, wow, I'm so grateful that I get to take a walk outside and there's sunlight.
Oh,
And
girl, yes, the sunlight.
that, right? Like just hearing that makes a world of a difference, right? It just makes a world of a difference. Like I'm so excited to get out in the sun. I'm so excited for breakfast. Like I'm so excited at night. I say I'm so excited for bed because I am excited for my bed.
I'm I'm so excited to rest my beautiful body and lay in this comfortable bed and warm. I mean, so for me, when I first started writing in a gratitude journal, and this is it's nothing special. It's for me, it's just a book. I mean, and for other people, it can be special, but I literally just grabbed a notebook that okay, so I got it from work because it was there. But I grabbed a notebook and I'm like, okay, I gotta at first, and this was a practice that I had to start because I would start and stop, start and stop, start and stop. And at the time it was at the first time it was given to me was probably over a decade ago. And I didn't really understand it because I didn't understand the vibration. I didn't understand the frequency. It wasn't fully explained and I wasn't ready to hear it. Sometimes when you're not ready to hear it, it's not going to come to you
Yeah.
unless you're ready to change. Right. So okay, I would go on Facebook. Okay, I'm gonna like, what is it that I'm happy for? And it was always like, just write something. Okay, so I'm in Seattle. I am happy that it's sunshiny today because we get 10 months of darkness. And they're like, stop writing that part about the darkness. Because now it's you need to just focus on the happy. It's like, okay, I'm happy that it was sunny and it was warm today. Period. Period.
The relativity. Oh my God. You just brought something up. Relative happiness. It's like it's you telling yourself, I can't be happy because there's something else, or I can only be happy because my life sucked at one point. And it was like, no, no, like you get to be happy no matter what. Not relative to anything. And I used to do this too because I grew up in scarcity mindset. So for me, it really helped me to think about all the things that totally was not like the best in my life at the time. So I would always compare, like, at least I'm a little bit happier than I was blank days ago. Um, and then now I'm at this point where it's like, but that story doesn't serve me anymore because I'm dragging my past along with me.
Mhm.
Right? I'm dragging my past with me, and it has become a piece of my identity. And I cannot be anything more without that piece.
Mhm. And so for me, what the piece that I love is telling the story that I'm from Hawaii. And so this is, I always, when I put this picture up, this is what I grew up seeing every day. So these are the mountains that I saw every day in on the east side of Oahu. And I can honestly say very happily that I absolutely love growing up in Hawaii. That is a story that I will always carry with me because I had very, very happy memories. Um, and so for me, living in a place where there's not as much sun, I'm like, okay, I'm very happy that the sun is here, I get to feel its warmth, the power, and I really just cherish it. So things like that, I really had to start just at that point. And then I started realizing, I'm like, oh my gosh, that person is struggling walking. They have to walk with a cane. So I started adding, I'm happy and grateful that I can actually walk and I can walk for miles without help, without pain. I can exercise today. Just like understanding the things that you can do, it really starts to change your attitude, your mindset. And I can honestly say it really raised the happiness in me. And most people, when they see me, they're like, you need to have your energy raised. Like you're always a happy person. Like people was like, the grumpiest people was like, why are you so happy? So I'm like, ha.
I worked my corporate job, I would get to work like at least 30 minutes early because I don't like being late. And I would stroll into the office with the two other people that was there at like 7 a.m. in the morning. Like, good morning. And I would go and I would give them a little hug, and they're like half asleep and they're just like, I don't know how you do it. And I did this, I was at my corporate job for 2 years. I did this almost every single day. And then when I left work, I actually stayed. I stayed behind and I chatted with almost everyone before I left work. So I would get home an hour later than I was supposed to. And people are like, oh no, girl. When it hits that time, I clock out and I run. I run out of that office. I don't say a word to anybody because they're going to stop me from going home. And I always thought, this is so strange. Why are people so ready to get out of there? Until I got to that point of burnout. And I was like, yeah, I can't stop and talk to every single person. Like, I have to go.
Yeah, you were definitely taking on the energy of everybody else. I'm pretty sure you were because you were just like,
But it helped me see now that, are where am I giving my life force energy, right? That's where we get all that excitement and energy to do things. Where am I putting that or directing my life force energy? Because if I'm directing it towards something I don't like, it doesn't matter if I slept 12 hours. I'm automatically dead tired when I do it, or resentful.
yeah. So the importance of gratitude, it really is like even just five a day. And take your time on it. When you woke up, like, oh yay, I'm happy that I actually woke up because if you didn't wake up, then well, something else is wrong. That you have power, right? That you have water there, that you have like literally the simple things in life. Just remember that you can. And there's other things that people are like, remember that to be grateful that you have bills, which I think is kind of weird. But I totally get it. It's like because now you're thankful that you have the money to be able to pay the bills. Now, if you don't have the money to pay the bills, then we need to talk. But it's an interesting gratitude on that. It's like I have money, and thank you, bills, for reminding me that I do have the means to pay. And so you're thanking the energy of money that you're there.
Yeah. I'm raising my hand like I'm a schoolgirl. I don't want to interrupt you, but I want to show you that I have something to say. I saw this actually channeled by somebody who channels the 5D consciousness, and the way that she put it was so refreshing, it was so enlightening. When she says, when we have bills, when we talk about money, when we talk about life force, everything is energy. So money is energy. And when you think about money flowing out, it's not about disappearance. It's about the flow of energy. So when you have bills come in, it's actually saying to you, you're moving in life. You're actually moving in life. This is why my parents, they actually, they got a lot of loans, and people think loans are scary because how am I ever going to pay it back? But they took out all these loans, and they put these loans, like this energy that they just got, and they place this energy toward the dream that they want to create. And they created this, like, it started from just merchandise, and then it expanded into a store, and then it expanded into 5 stores, and then it expanded into real estate, and then it expanded into multi-million-dollar real estate. And they kept taking out loans because it was a confirmation that they're moving energy. And so she was talking about people being poor, and people afraid to spend their money, afraid
Mhm.
to invest. And she was saying how you can't be afraid because money is just energy. It's your commitment to moving your energy. It's your commitment to flowing through life. And I think about my life, and I'm like, I'm never afraid to invest in myself. That was something I'm really grateful for, my upbringing, that what that taught me. You invest and you grow, right? But it's the fear of, I'm going to hoard my energy. I'm going to hoard this money. I'm going to store it away. I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it. And I'm going to keep working. And you're expending your own life force towards a job that you probably don't fully enjoy. And you're just saving it and saving and saving. When are you going to exert that energy, put that money towards your dream, towards what you really want to do, whether that's travel, whether that's, a program that you want? The reason why we work is so we can spend, so we can live, so we can flow through life. And when she said it like that, I was like, that just took me out of my scarcity, whatever scarcity mindset I had left, it just took me out of it. Because now I understand the frequency of money. Money is a frequency. So the frequency of
Yes.
money.
That's where I heard that concept before, and I remember one of the person that had sent that to me. I don't remember who it was. I don't really talk to them anymore. But it was like, oh, this is really interesting that they're talking about money as energy. And so we listened to this podcast, and this was well before podcasts became massive. And wrapping my head around that thought, and this was maybe like 2015, and it's now 2023. And it had already been, that consciousness has already been flowing around, but it hadn't hit the people that I was talking to yet. And so they're like, I don't understand. I don't understand. And so I didn't really understand that until later. When it was explained, is like, money really is just a piece of paper right now. It's currency. Before we had paper and coins, it was a barter and trade. So the that was just meant so that we could have in different countries, right, an understanding of what is going to cost. So in that respect, then yes, money really is energy, and we've just transformed what it means to have this exchange. So in that respect, money is an energy of exchange. So yay. I don't remember what I was going to say about that, but I remember thinking I love that concept, and this is how we can get out of the the scarcity mindset for money. When we're like, it's an exchange, we need to constantly exchange, we need to constantly flow, we need to flow. When we feel stuck, when we feel stagnant, right? We have people that are stuck inside. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Well, move. Well, I don't know where to move. Just move. Go forward, go backward, go sideways. Just move. Stop being stagnant. When you are stagnant, when you feel stuck, wherever you are, whether it's in your career, whether it's your schooling, whether it's your relationship, do something. Move. Because if you're stuck, there's people out there that are trying to help you, and you really do have your blinders on. But I do remember feeling stuck. I know people that have said they're stuck, and no one can help you but you.
Yeah, it's a really good point. And for someone like me, I'm a manifesting generator in human design. I need to move. Like I have so much energy. My energy needs to move. But I have been in those situations where I get so stuck in fear that I don't want to move in any direction. And we talked about this in the last podcast about my indecisiveness, because there's fear attached to indecisiveness. But if I had a healthy masculine role model, um, I would have been taught that life always had my back. You know, my dad would have been the one who would be like, it doesn't matter what happens, I'll always have your back. So you have room to fail and explore and try new things. But if you grew up in an environment of fear like I did, I was always told my choice was wrong, or I would be criticized for my choice. Like, that's not really the best decision. And that created my fear of making a decision. Looking at it from a quantum perspective or a higher perspective, now I see that possibilities are infinite. I remember your angels had talked about you agree to experience certain things in this lifetime, but who you experience that with may be different. So you're not always stuck to, I need to find that perfect soulmate. I need to find that perfect opportunity. That opportunity will come as long as you are aligned to what you want to experience. So it doesn't matter where that expression of you goes, you will have the experience you want, and it might have been a different um career, a different relationship. I remember for me when I got a spiritual reading way before I learned and way before I knew as much about spirituality as I did now, it was like, you have like one reading was like, I see you in Korea selling medical devices and you're driving around in a Lambo. And I was like,
What?
okay. And then like a month later, I got another spiritual reading and he says, if you study your Chinese, you will actually work at the UN embassy as a translator. And those in some way reflects my essence, like my soul, because a part of me has this like grandiose vision of myself and the wealth that I'm going to bring in. And the other part of me is to be in service, but to be in service that does something so impactful. Like, can you imagine translating for countries, like for the peace of countries? Like, that is my soul's essence. And no matter which direction I would have chosen, I would have had that experience my soul chose to experience, whether that's wealth, whether that's being in service to something huge. I would have had that experience, but I had to choose. And at that time, I said, no, none of that resonate with me because I was on the healing path.
Mhm.
Here I am.
Now it's bigger. Now it's actually bigger than that.
Yeah.
Like it's at a different it's at a different level. It's not at at a a 3D level, I guess. I don't really know how to explain that, but it's at a different level of the impact that you're going to make.
Yeah, and I remind everyone here that spiritual readings are given to you at where you are right now. So it has the potential to change. That's why it's never certain whenever you get like a psychic reading or something like that. So when I was given that, I said I don't align with that. I also didn't want to really study Chinese anymore, and I chose a different path. And it led me to where my heart wanted to be anyway. So it was better than I could have ever imagined.
And that's awesome. I mean, I love that you were given that reading and you're like, no, no, not for me. Because that's the thing. I mean, I also love that you brought up the fact that, and this is one of the reasons why I shied away from doing tarot card readings, because I'm actually pretty accurate. I think most of us who are healers, because we can channel, those of us who can channel naturally, um, have fantastic accuracy in any kind of reading, because we can tap into your energy. At that point we can really understand where you're projecting. But just like Nicki said, it's at that point, at that time. If at any point you decide you're not going on your forward path and you decide that you want to veer off, that prediction is no longer valid.
Yeah.
It is no longer valid because you chose to not go in that direction. And then you're like, oh, but what if I did? What if I was like, no, 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 I'm not going to go there. The
It's
time of the reading. Um, okay, so one of the one of the topics that we actually did want to talk about, was when your body starts talking to you, and you're like, "Are you talking about?" Um, and the reason why this came up is because one of our healer friends, she is actually pretty fantastic about being able to read body energy. And I had asked her in a healing to help heal what's going on in my shoulder. So the story is that my personal story, I'm not going to say anything about anybody else because this is my personal story. So I am the witness. So I'm a person that actually was taught to really understand what your body is telling you, because it's telling you certain things. And in the you have to, I think it was maybe Louise Hay that had started to put this together, but it is also in different understandings of how your body is starting to talk to you. I think one of the most common things that is maybe floating around social media is when you have pains in your back, or like your lower back hurts, it's an understanding that you don't feel supported in your life somewhere. So looking at your body, if you even like arch your back a little bit, right, it's giving you support. And so thinking about how different parts of your body are actually functioning, like why would, when your leg is hurting, when you're literally when your heart is hurting, or your shoulder, or your eyes, your temples, like what's going on in your world that is maybe having your head hurt? Where is your head hurting? Why is your eye hurting? Why is your shoulder? What is it that you're shouldering too much of? So think of it as kind of very in a punny sense. So I had both shoulders. Actually, this shoulder is still on the mend. I'm almost 100% free of frozen shoulder. One of the first times I experienced this, I went to PT and they're like, so what were you doing that caused you to have frozen shoulder? I was like, nothing. They're like, what do you mean nothing? Like, I wasn't doing any kind of particular exercise, although I was in the gym a lot. Um, it wasn't any particular movement. It's just one day this shoulder started hurting. So interestingly enough, the PT actually said that's pretty common for many women. Just the shoulder starting to hurt. So fast forward to 2021, July, August or July, this shoulder is now healed. Now this shoulder is fully frozen. I can't pick it up until I do this, and it absolutely hurts. And people are telling me you need to go and get rotator cuff surgery. I was like, why? I did not do anything. But after understanding what this shoulder was going through, I was like, oh, this is completely energetic because I had just started a new position and I understood what was happening. So fast forward to now, this is now healing. This is completely healed. So this shoulder, so if we kind of think of ourselves, the right side of our body, our right side is related to masculine side, and the left side is usually related to the feminine side. So right side is also for masculine, and this is my version. You can debate on this. This is just my interpretation. So the masculine is a giver and the feminine is the receiving part. So this was my receiving side. I had a lot of energetic blocks about receiving, being a female and receiving. I am so much in my masculine that this side gave away. This was after the relationship I had talked about a few episodes ago, that I gave so much that this shoulder gave out. So I had finally, after we were done, we were finished and I was finished giving, this shoulder finally gave out and I was able to restore it. Now this side on the receiving end, I've been so much in my masculine that now it's time for me to receive. And the industry I went into was so masculine that what I was sensing, that it was crushing the ability for me to receive, or anyone in a female or a feminine role to be able to receive. And again, thinking about these things, I'm like, okay, so where in my life is it difficult for me to receive? And to be honest, it's almost everywhere. It's been hard for me, for anyone when they say, oh, thank you, Camille. Oh, no problem. But it is like, for me, just to accept that and say, oh, you're welcome, or just accepting someone giving me a gift. Like, this is a receiving thing that I noticed in my family on my dad's side. My aunt, who has a restaurant, people she's a very giving person, and her customers will give her gifts. You're so nice, you're so kind. And instead of actually accepting the gift, she wants to pay for their meal. I'm like, stop. Now you've nullified their gift. You've not fully received the gift because she doesn't know how to receive. And I'm like, I am talking to myself because I don't know how to receive a gift. Even, I think Nicki, you even talked about that, right? In how you don't really receiving a gift gives you fear because now you have to immediately return it.
Yeah.
So
So maybe that's an Asian thing because
yeah,
maybe that's an Asian thing. Because we're such givers. And now that I think about how giving is tied to the masculine, my mom is so much in her masculine. And we think about society now, a lot of the females are in their masculine, and the masculine is about individuality. It's about giving, it's about being independent, confident, and all of these things. Those are good qualities of the masculine, but you can be so much in your masculine that you throw off the balance of the feminine. And the feminine is really about nurturing, loving, being able to receive, right? Having philosophy of life and things like that, that you're so stuck in being able to give, but you can't get anything back. And that was how my family operated. My mom was so in her masculine, really career oriented, which is a masculine trait, that she had no emotion and love for, which is a feminine trait, for me. And so I grew up not receiving any of the feminine traits and only receiving masculine. And so I learned to be masculine too. And that threw off my masculine feminine balance. for the rest of my life. And so that's why I also had such a hard time receiving stuff that was tied to scarcity. It was tied to you're not worthy enough to receive this, or, you're not worthy enough that you don't have any value to give back to somebody.
Yes. Yes, I think that, I mean, when you said that last time, I was like, but you have so much to give. But when it comes to me, because now I hearing this again, and thinking back to when I was thinking that, I was like, well, I don't have much to give. It's like, but you do. You give so much. Like I don't realize how much I give. And again, that's this hand, the right hand, but receiving. When is it that I am in a position, or if I'm willing to put myself to be vulnerable enough to receive,
Mm.
right?
Why do you feel like it's a vulnerability thing to receive?
Because you are allowing yourself to open up to receive. You actually have to open up to receive,
Mm.
right? You can't be closed.
Yeah, you're
Be
right.
given a hug like this.
Mm-mm.
When you hug someone, do you hug like this?
And I think about that too. Receiving help is much more difficult than receiving a gift. Like receiving help is actually being honest enough that you need support. And
Mhm.
for me, it was like so in the masculine, like I don't need no help from nobody. I got this. And that burns you out. So I got burnt out, but I never asked for help because that was a sign of weakness. So you're right. It is directly linked to your ability to be vulnerable too.
Yep. And let's get this, like this is just individually. And I know like right now my mind is going like politically, oh, but there's this and this. It's like I'm not gonna go there. I'm just gonna stick to this. But I really want to go political. I'm not gonna go political. I'm just gonna stay here in the straight and narrow about spiritually.
Yeah. And honestly, in our healing class, they had mentioned a book, Louise Hayes, You Can Heal Your Life, and she has another book or they had mentioned another book, right? The Metaphysics of Pain, of
Mhm.
Body
Yeah,
Pain, and
yeah,
how it's
that's what I was
linked.
talking about. Mhm.
Yes, and how it's linked to another part. Because I know for me, when you mention left and right, my right hip has always hurted ever since I worked as a young child. I worked since I was 10, and my right hip always hurt. Like my leg would hurt all the way up to my hip. And I did not know the cause until I got healing this year when I cut the ties with mom and we were supposed to uh, see if there was any attachments. I couldn't see any, but my healer did. And he said,
The
you
masculine
have
part.
an attachment to your mom on your right hip. And I was like, holy mother of God, like my hip has been in pain and I always try to pop that hip. And I was like, now I understand. It's a freaking masculine. And my mom was so in her masculine. So pain is attributed to something that you've experienced in life and it throws the balance off. You're absolutely right.
And
And my
again,
eye, too, my right eye had an attachment to mom.
and again, this is where energy healing comes from, right? Like comes into really good play, because if you're going into physical therapy or going to acupuncture, and the acupuncturists, I go to acupuncture and massage, and they're still trying to work it out, and you're not getting an understanding of why this is still going forever. It's because you need to go deeper, and it's not about like the physical deeper, it's about the energetics, the like what is going on. And to be honest, talk therapy would never understand this.
No, can I add something else too? As we're talking about body, this affects so much more than just pain. It affects autoimmune diseases, like diseases that you carry with you. Because I did not know, and I don't have an autoimmune disease, but my digestive system is obviously part of my body, is really important in the spiritual world. because that's how we process energy, right? Food is energy and how our body processes it. I was told my digestive system is messed up. It's so slow. Why?
Hmm.
I was told the reason why. And it was because trauma linked to my mom.
Oh
And
gosh.
also the cultural thing we healed this week. I was in Camille's healing group, and she channeled for me that it was a cultural responsibility, a burden I picked up from my culture as a child of being over responsible for things that I didn't have to be responsible for, but I picked it up anyways. Because of that, my nervous system is on high alert all the time. I'm always scanning. What can I do to help out? What can I do to help out? Like, what can I do to relieve like, ease the pain of other people? But because I'm on high alert, my digestive system is like, it doesn't have time. The way that one of the channelers put it, rest and digest. Like, you need to rest in order for your body to digest the food. But because I'm always in a state of fight or flight, I don't have time to digest. So it's backed up, it's slow. I'm sluggish. I don't process my food properly, which makes me really slow, like processing my mind and my energy, and I'm lethargic. And so all of these things can be linked to a trauma or something that you've experienced in life that may not be fixed with medical, like medicine and tools, or surgery. Can't fix that. Just saying, in case you guys have poor digestion too.
I happen to know a healer or two that can that can help out.
Yes. Oh my God. If you guys have trauma, like autoimmune, immune body pain, anything linked to trauma, Camille's a great source. We have another source. Oh my freaking God. I feel like her life mission is here to heal people's bodies because
Yeah.
one of my clients, her that was giving her all of these like autoimmune diseases and all of these like diseases and things that was causing her to be so slow, can't eat nothing. She healed her freaking spleen that was like 50% of the problem of like low white blood cell count and processing things. God, I don't even know what the spleen does. This is why you go to specialists, right? So Camille or somebody else, you let me know, I'll hook you up.
Yeah.
I'll
She's
send you
pretty
their info.
amazing. Yeah, she's pretty amazing. And she knows it, but she's hiding. She doesn't want to be in the spotlight.
We're pulling her out. We're pulling her out.
We
Um,
gonna get her on.
if you guys, yeah, we'll have her on one day. You guys will meet her because we're both obsessed with her. So, was there anything else you wanted to touch on, Camille, before we end today's
No,
conversation?
I think for those of you who are experiencing body pains and digestive issues, if you haven't already picked up Louise Hay's book about Heal Yourself or want to know about that, about how your body and just messages that your body is sending you, that really is one of the books that you want to understand, because she does give an insight of like why does this hurt, why does that hurt. So when someone actually comes to me today, I actually got a call from one of my friends. She's like, I need a healing, I need a session with you. I was like, okay, what's going on? She's like telling me the story, and then she's like, and then my knee gave out. I'm like, okay, so what is going on? So all that she's experienced right now, she's giving too much. And she said her weak knee. I was like, what do you mean your weak knee? What side? I was surprised. She said it was her right side. So I said, oh, that's because you're the giver. You're always giving. You are done giving. Someone needs to help you, and you need to be there to receive. And she's like, oh my God, you're so right. I was like, I'm just repeating exactly what you told me, but in a different way. So,
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Camille, for being here, for doing this. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We're very, very excited to host these. If you have requests, I have Camille's link below. You have my email below as well. And we will see you in the next episode. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.